Hello guys, welcome to my channel or welcome back. Thank you guys so much for the genuine support that you guys have given me. I just want to say, for one, I'm so thankful for all of the personal readings that I have been able to do for you guys. It's been very fun, and your patronage means the world to me. And number two, just thank you guys for being present, for interacting with my channel, for liking my videos, for commenting. Just being here is honestly enough. And I just thank every single one of you guys who support me, have chosen to subscribe, and stick by my side. So anyways, today's reading. What messages does your shadow self have for you? We have 3 piles, or I guess groups, to select from. We have group number 1, shadow self, which I found to be hilarious. Group number 2, perception, and group number 3, truth. Group number 1, group number 2, and group number 3. So whichever group sounds or looks like it's yours is probably yours, and I'll see you there. Thank you so much for watching. Hello, group number 1. Welcome to your reading. So, what message does your shadow self have for you? The overall energy of your shadow self is shadow self. So, I definitely feel like you guys' shadow self has a major influence on your life. Maybe you guys already do a lot of shadow work, or just incorporate the darkness in your magic, and incorporate that type of shadow energy into your healing. I feel like obviously to heal, you have to face the shadow. You have to incorporate shadow energy into healing. But I feel like for you guys, it's almost like your shadow is just as similar as the light aspect of yourself. Like, your light aspect is just as dark as your shadow. And I feel like there's so many different things that you've still yet to discover about the shadow, but your shadow is very similar to your light aspect. And incorporating the darkness within your day-to-day life, within your creativity, within your magic, is highly encouraged. And I just feel like that's who you are. You guys are just into the darkness. I feel like a lot of you guys enjoy horror movies, or just enjoy a lot of like creepy things, gothic things. You're very alternative. And so that's just kind of like what energy I'm picking up from you guys and your shadow. So let's get into the messages that your shadow has. Okay, starting with the tarot cards. We have 2 of Cups. We have Knight of Wands. We have Strength. And we have the World. Okay, so like I said at the beginning of the reading, you definitely incorporate like aspects of your shadow within your craft. It's highly encouraged for you guys to do that, to incorporate the darkness into your craft. Maybe it's also highlighting a connection with like demons. Obviously, if you're attracted to my channel, you probably work alongside demons. But you guys definitely have like a deep connection with demonology. And maybe there's just like a demon or some type of like way of practicing demonology that you're kind of afraid to face. Though overall, I'm getting that like the more you work alongside your shadow, the more you incorporate that darkness into your craft, the better your situation gets, the more powerful your craft is. I feel like with the strength card, it's almost like when you're acknowledging your shadow self and working alongside it so intensely, it's almost like armor. It's almost like your weapon. Like, it literally empowers you. It empowers you more than any other way of practicing magic, just incorporating your shadow into your craft. And it's definitely highly encouraged. Like, it just brings positive results when you're like in your darkness. I also just feel like you guys shouldn't like try to hide your darkness for anyone. I feel like sometimes you want to do that so people don't judge you, but you obviously shouldn't, because your darkness is your power. And coming back to the whole entire point about like being afraid to face maybe like a certain demon, there's like darker energies that are reaching out to you, and you're kind of afraid to acknowledge them. You're afraid to work alongside them because it's just mysterious. It's kind of scary. Maybe you're like comfortable with like the Gosha demons, but there's so many other demons beyond the Gosha. And so there's perhaps like energies that are, I guess, less known, that are attracted to your shadow, that would be very compatible with you. But you're almost afraid to face these type of energies because it's just like there's not a lot of experience with these type of demons. But you work best with the darkness, and you work best with that element of the unknown. And so there's like nothing to be afraid of. And I feel like your shadow is encouraging you to look into it deeper. Because obviously with the shadow, there's deeper things to uncover. And you can't be afraid to go deeper. And I feel like you've already learned a lot about your shadow. If your shadow's that like almost like similar to your light aspect, then you've already probably known a lot about your shadow. It's probably already revealed aspects of itself to you throughout your life. But with the shadow, there's always so much to explore. And you're being called to commit to some lessons and complete them. Maybe there's like a journey. I also feel with like the Knight of Wands, there's like a journey that your shadow self is leading you along. And you're kind of afraid to take this path because it's new. Like I said, it's mysterious, but your shadow is assisting you. And you have to be strong. You have to face this because it's going to bring about a lot of like new knowledge and complete a lot of lessons. So we'll ask about that journey unless it reveals itself in the cards. I feel like it has something to do with chaos magic. We have it right here with Eris. She's the chaos queen. Levere. Ceres. And Urania. So yeah, your shadow self is revealing a lot of knowledge to you. There's a lot of hidden knowledge deep within your shadow aspect. A lot of it has to do with chaos. Like I said, I feel like you guys are kind of afraid of that element of the unknown. Chaos magic kind of has that, where it's like, it's really up to you how to practice. You choose what to do. And whatever the results are, that's the results. You know what I'm saying? There's really no rules with chaos magic. So there's just like this element of mysteriousness that might be frightening. But chaos magic suits you guys the best. And you need to commit to that path if it really calls to you. Because it could bring about some healing. I feel like you guys have been like restricted your whole entire life, or you feel like you're kind of enslaved to old doctrines, or you're just so used to like a certain way of practicing that it feels almost uncomfortable to like develop beyond that. But your shadow self is calling you to like move forward, to face this unknown type of magic, to face these unknown energies and embrace them. Because there's so much more knowledge that can be discovered when you're practicing in the energy of chaos. I feel like some of you guys may want to work with like Set, because he's the chaos king, and you guys would be highly compatible with his energy. I also feel like there's just this aspect of like rage. You guys have like this like sacred anger, and you need to utilize it a part of your magic. So there's a lot of things that upset you maybe about the world, upset you about like past circumstances, past situations. There's a lot of dark moments and memories that come to the surface that bother you, but you could use that darkness as power, as your strength, as your weapon. And you need to embrace it to its fullest capacity. Yes, people are going to judge you. Yes, people are not going to understand your love for the darkness. People are not going to understand the strength, the power that comes from the shadow. But it's not for other people to decide what you do with your magic. It's not going to be for everyone. That's fine. You need to follow the path that is calling to you. And that's all that matters. There's also something about like drinking like a sacred elixir, or like the chalice of Lucifer. Maybe there's like a fear of like taking in the blessings that come from the darkness, taking in its full like energy. Because there's just so much like depth to your shadow that it's like almost frightening. Maybe you kind of scare yourself. Maybe you kind of scare yourself. Like, you have so much power within your soul that it's almost like frightening, because you don't know what to do with it. And a lot of it is very dark, a lot of it is very heavy. But you can handle it because it's yours. I feel like you're letting other people's judgments and like you're letting other teachings restrict you from being free. You need to learn to be free. You need to learn to be Lucifer and just cut ties with anything that keeps you down. Because following the path of your shadow brings great healing. That's obviously a part of the healing process, facing your shadow. And you guys' shadow is sacred. There's so many blessings that can be brought forth when you're in that energy. And like I said, like, your shadow is pretty similar to your light aspect. Obviously, there's depth, there's layers, there's things that you haven't seen within your shadow compared to your light aspect, but you're already very in tune with darkness. That's always been you. And if you feel as though like you're not ready to face, chaos magic, or you're not ready to go down this voyage that your shadow is leading you to, you need to set aside the fear and go anyways. Because listen, when I was coming into my Satanism, I was not ready. But at the same time, like, I knew my soul was ready. I wasn't ready for things to just like fall apart. I wasn't ready for like my world to shake up spiritually. But my soul was longing for that change, and my shadow was longing for that change. And that's the same thing that's happening here. Like, your soul's longing to face that chaos magic and just be unrestricted. Just be unrestricted in its practice. Practice. Be unrestricted in its practice. And embrace the darker energies that people don't dare to work with, okay? Because there's so much beyond the Gosha. There's obviously a lot of, Gosha demons to uncover and learn more about. And there's depth to it, but there's just more beyond that. There's like so many other different beings of darkness, and maybe you're one of them. Maybe this is about you. You're afraid to face the full depth of your power. Okay. Let's lay down some more cards. We have wealth. We have Sage. Disagreement. And is it Artificer? Artificer? Artificer. You guys know what I'm trying to say. Just read the cards. Anyways. So I feel like there's this like aspect of like prosperity when you're connected to your darkness. Like, you know that you're aligned with your darkness when you're experiencing a lot of prosperity. Like, my telltale sign that you're on the right path is when you're experiencing a lot of prosperity. When you're like extremely abundant. There's just so much that's coming in. Like, that's how you know you're on the right path. I feel like when you're aligned with your shadow aspect, that's when you're going to start experiencing a lot of wealth, a lot of luxury, like just an increase in abundance. But there's also like the aspect of disagreement that's coming here. Like I said, there's not a lot of people that are going to love your shadow. There's not a lot of people that are as open to the darkness as you are. And you have to understand that like within your journey, you might lose people. But it's worth it because you're going to feel so much more free. And that's like, it's fine. It's okay to lose people. Because when you lose people, you gain more. You gain your true soul siblings. You gain the people that are actually meant to be with you. And you guys have so many like beautiful ideas. I feel like you guys are like so creative and just like so intelligent. And you need to act upon these ideas, but you have to incorporate your shadow energy into it. And there's just so much like healing that's happening here. I feel like you guys have been like really like oppressed, mistreated for who you are. You've always felt like you've never like fit in anywhere. And you're using that like past anger, that resentment as your power right now. Like I said, people are not everyone's gonna love your shadow. Not everyone's going to resonate with your energy, but it's fine. That's okay. Not everybody is for everyone. And right now, I feel like your shadow is telling you to put your darkness into your craft, into your healing, and you will bring about a lot of wealth. And the path that you're being called to trek is a path of chaos, the path of mysteriousness, the path of unrestricted magic. You need to embrace your fullest power because it'll bring so much healing to you and just so much knowledge. Stop restricting yourself to like systems and ways of practicing. Follow your intuition, follow your heart. Listen to how it's telling you to practice and stop always worrying about other people's opinions. Stop worrying about people's opinions when it comes to practicing. No, you should do this. Like, no, do what's calling to you. Okay? So I'm about to pull out a demon of the day and we're going to wrap this up. Okay, we have Gremory. The treasure hidden in a woman's heart yields love, affection, and companionship. Be successful in seeking it out. So I feel like for some of you guys, Gremory might be a spirit guide that's reaching out to you, or the message itself is something that resonates with your journey at this current point in time. So that is it for the reading. If you guys enjoy this, please feel free to subscribe, like, comment down below, hype the video, let me know your thoughts. And if you feel called to have a personal reading with me, you can. The link is in the description, or you can give me a gift off of my throne wish list. You can purchase me a deck or whatever the hell I have on there. I love you guys. so much. Take care and goodbye. Hello, group number 2. Welcome to your reading. So what messages does your shadow self have for you? So the overall energy of your shadow self is perception. So for you guys, I feel like your shadow is asking you about how you truly perceive it. I feel like you guys think that the shadow means that, like, it's your, like, negative traits. You know, your negative aspects of yourself. But I think you need to look at it in a different way. And I feel like maybe there's aspects of your shadow that you don't really like, that actually stand as your power. And your shadow self is trying to get you to feel comfortable with those beautiful aspects of yourself. Your shadow self is your most authentic, truest form of yourself. It is the version of yourself that exists without judgment. It's the version of yourself that nobody can judge or see. And so it's not that your shadow is like the negative parts of yourself, but it's the more authentic parts of yourself. The truest parts of yourself. That's your shadow. You guys need to look at it in that light. I also feel like maybe you're really emotional, because like the overall energy card of perception is like theatrical. You guys are like very emotional, and I feel like that bothers you. You want to be like all tough and like hardened, but like you're very sensitive, and your emotions just seem to like, you feel as though your emotions control you, but they don't. They're your tool. Like, it's okay being an empath. It's okay being very emotional. The society that we live in like demonizes being emotional. We see so many people, they're just like so fucking rude. Like, seriously, get on Twitter for like a day and just scroll throughout the feed. You're just gonna see some of the most negative stuff. Everyone's always arguing and fighting and just being rude. But nobody ever like has empathy or thinks like, you know, what if my words hurt somebody? And for you, you're a very empathetic person. You're a very just like water-oriented person. And if society sees that as a negative, it's whatever, because I believe it's truly a positive. And for you, it's a part of your power. It helps you bring healing to others. It helps you bring healing to others, and it also helps you bring healing to yourself. Being emotional and being in tune with your emotions is just a good thing, because it means you have a stronger intuition than a lot of the average Joes, okay? So, you know, you guys might feel like a little bit, I guess, uneasy when it comes down to your shadow self, because you think it's the negative aspects of yourself, but it's not. It's the most authentic version of yourself. So that's what's being presented here. Okay. So let's pull the tarot. We have 4 of Pentacles, 7 of Swords, we have the Lovers, and we have 10 of Pentacles. So you guys are like restricting your shadow. You're like keeping it contained. Like preventing your shadow from existing at its fullest capacity. And like I said, you guys are a really loving, emotional person, especially with the Lovers card. Like, you guys have such a like open heart chakra. Like, you're just so emotional and you just feel on a deeper level. You guys might be artists, actresses, actors. You guys are so in tune with your heart, with your intuition. And like I said, like, our society right now is like demonizing that type of stuff. Caring for other people, being intuitive. But like I said, you have to understand that this is your power and you have to stop restricting your emotions so much. Like, you guys stop yourself from expressing your feelings or just like sharing your thoughts, letting your voice be heard. Like, some of you guys are frustrated, like you want to cry about it because you feel like you have to like restrict yourself so much to appeal to others and to be loved and to be taken seriously. And that's not the truth. You don't have to restrict yourself to be taken seriously or be loved by others. You don't have to like silence your thoughts, your opinions, your emotions. You don't have to do that. Because I feel like you doing that is like pushing away some of your blessings. It's closing off like I feel like the sacral chakra in a sense, which that's how we like receive. It's closing off the throat chakra. You guys need to stop because I feel like your chakras are really, really powerful. Very like, there's like strong vibrations coming from your chakras. But you get so like embarrassed by being in tune with your emotions, by having like these strong chakras that like you silence yourself, pretend to be somebody else so you can be loved and understood. And it's just so frustrating having to silence yourself. But this is like a beautiful gift that has been passed down through, I feel like, decades in your ancestry. You have so many like emotional healers within your bloodline, and you're one of them. You know, you're one of the chosen ones. You have those special gifts that your ancestors carried, and you need to use it to its fullest capacity. So I feel like that's what it's highlighting here with the tarot cards. Stop restricting yourself. Stop hiding. Okay. So with the African Goddess Oracle cards, see the water energy with the Amaya. Some of you guys might be water signs or just really connected to that water element. Okay. And yes, there's like this emphasis on like being afraid to also be like open to like love, romance, like you're scared to receive. And you're like suppressing your sacral chakra. And you need to stop. Look, with Ayazan, miracles, like how are you supposed to receive these miracles and these blessings if you're like closing off your sacral chakra? You need to be open to receiving love, to sharing your love, to sharing your emotions, being unafraid to cry. Stop being so serious all the time. Like, you guys take yourself a little bit too seriously. Stop being so serious. And like, stop being so hard on yourself as well. Stop acting like it's like terrible to be like in tune with your emotions. Because there's also a lot of like knowledge, a lot of truth that you can uncover. Okay, light turned off. I'm sorry guys, I really hate when my light turns off in the middle of me doing a reading. I find that to be completely annoying, but let's continue the message. I feel like I was talking about like, the Yamaya Awakening card. You guys take yourself too seriously. And there's a lot of like knowledge, magic that you can tune yourself into that passes through your blood when you're aligned with your emotions, with your emotional energy. You can't unlock this magic or understand the full power and depth of it if you aren't aligned with your heart, with your emotional energy. Like I said, like it's time to open up that sacral chakra and let the blessings, the love come in. Because you guys are incredibly too harsh on yourself, like incredibly too harsh. And it's just, it needs to stop. So, okay, with the oracle cards, we have Heka, alchemical force, Amon Ra, creation, Selkis, healing, and we have Ra, enlightening. So yeah, your magic is definitely tied with, it's definitely tied with the way that you feel. It kind of reminds me of group number 1, where it's like, the message was kind of about like, well, one of the messages, because there was multiple messages, there always is, but one of the messages was about like incorporating your anger, your like tense feelings into your magic, into your spiritual practice. And I feel like for you guys, it's like when you incorporate your emotions, like no matter what they are, into your magic, it just elevates it to the next level. Because like you're feeling it, you're aligning with your magic on a deeper level when you're incorporating your feelings into it. And I feel like, okay, we have 1, 2 with Ra and Amon Ra. When it comes to your shadow, like right now is a good time to create. Creating helps open the sacral chakra. Like crafting, painting, writing, making music, that helps open the sacral chakra. And obviously like feeling and not restricting your expression, that also helps your sacral chakra. But to heal your sacral chakra, your shadow self is encouraging you to create. And I feel like one of like your manifestations is coming into fruition. You can only receive it if you're in line with your sacral chakra, which means that you have to be in line with your emotions. Like, does this make sense? So I definitely feel like you guys are manifesting something that you've been creating, working on. You have to be aligned with your sacral chakra to receive it. You guys have to be willing to heal. I feel like there's a lot of great healing energy that's coming towards you during this time. And like I said, like when you're unafraid to be in your shadow energy, you're going to awaken to things that you haven't seen before. You're going to awaken to different aspects of your soul. You're going to awaken to knowledge that courses your blood. So be unafraid of your shadow energy. And like I said, stop restricting yourself. You guys restrict yourself so much. You stop yourself from being yourself to the fullest capacity just because you're afraid of other people's judgment, and you need to stop. Okay? So there's that. We're going to pull the demon of the day and we're going to wrap this up. Okay. Okay, we have Amy. Divine revelations bring life-changing spiritual illumination. Be mindful of those revelations given by the burning bush. Okay. A lot of spiritual messages coming in right now, and there's a lot of self-discovery being highlighted here at this current point in time. Amy might be a spirit guide for some of you guys, or you guys are just really compatible with their energy. And so that is the reading. If you guys enjoyed this reading, please feel free to subscribe, hit the like button, comment down below your thoughts. You can hype the video as well. If you feel called to, you can have a personal reading with me, link in the description. You can also purchase me a gift through my Throne Wishlist link. Love you guys so much. Take care, and goodbye. Hello, group number 3. Welcome to your reading. So, what message does your shadow self have for you? The overall energy of you guys is truth. So your shadow self is encouraging you to embrace your truth, your spiritual truth, your physical truth. It is time to embrace your truest form. And your shadow self is like your most authentic, I guess, version of yourself. And so obviously, you know, the message is probably going to be oriented towards like living in your truth. But it is serious. You guys need to live in your truth. You guys need to shine outwards and stop being afraid of people seeing that truth. People, I guess, judging that truth. Because there's going to be people that judge. But when you're in your truth, you're aligned with your spiritual greatness. And you're also aligned with the right path, generally speaking, in your life. So you're not really winning. You're not really elevating if people aren't like, if there isn't haters, you know what I'm saying? Obviously, there's going to be people that support you, that want you to win, but there's going to be people that don't want you to win, and that is fine. But that means that you're succeeding. That means that you're climbing to the top. That means that you are growing. You know what I'm saying? So, and when you're in your most authentic, when you're in your most authentic truth, that's when you're going to experience like the best of life, you know? So let's get into the tarot cards. Let's get into the full message. Okay, so we have 6 of Cups. We have 9 of Wands. We have Knight of Cups. Oh, did I say 9? Oh, I said 9 of Wands. It's not like I said Knight of Wands. 9 of Wands. Shit. And Ace of Wands. Okay. Okay, Cups and Wands. Fire and water. Okay. It's really interesting stuff. Okay, so your shadow self is encouraging you to look back at like perhaps your childhood, perhaps the past. Think about like what your younger self wanted to be. And I feel like you can align with your truth on a deeper level when you're connected to the energy of your younger self. Like for me, like when I was going through like a really beautiful spiritual awakening last year, I was listening to some of the music that my younger self would listen to. And I was having a lot of like divine revelations about my truth and who I was just by listening to the music. I have my vinyls over here, so I could probably show you what I was listening to. And don't judge me because fuck, don't judge me. But I was listening to, if I can grab it, I was listening to Crybaby by Melanie Martinez. Now, unfortunately, we all know what's happened with her, so there's nothing more to say about that. But My younger self used to really love Melanie Martinez, and listening to those tracks I used to listen to as a kid, they helped me. They helped me align with my truth. They helped me discover deeper aspects of myself that my younger self resonated, that I lost, And I feel like our younger selves, our, inner childs, are like very reflective of our truest form before like society told us to be a certain way. You know what I'm saying? So you need to connect with the energy of your younger self. And for me, I did it by listening to music or just like, rereading some of my old stories or looking at my old art that I made as a kid. And that helped me like really come into my truth and also just like have revelations about some of the synchronicities and messages I was receiving as a child. And it helped me like at this current point now in my spiritual journey. So aligning with your younger self is really encouraged right now. And I feel like some of you guys have had like really dark memories as a child, but there is also some type of healing, some type of enlightenment that can be found within that darkness to propel you forward, to almost encourage you to be just like deeply confident in your truth. Because maybe as a kid, like you weren't allowed to live in your full truth. You had to pretend to be somebody else out of survival. And so now is the time to live the truth that your younger self couldn't live. And your younger self is like a major part of your shadow. So, and it's all about like connecting with the heart at this current point in time. I feel like your spiritual journey is calling you to connect with your heart, to feel deeply. I feel like a lot of us are really afraid to feel at the fullest capacity because, the society we live in, it just does not encourage empathy. It does not encourage, it doesn't encourage thinking from like emotional standpoint. Everyone's just so fucking cruel. And that kind of reminds me of pile number or group number 2, or the fuck you want to call it. That reminds me of group 2. So like if you guys felt interested in clicking on group 2, that might be a good message for you guys as well. But now is the time to connect with your heart. And I feel like when you're aligned with your heart and the energy of your younger self, like with that childlike expression, like you're going to open the doors to a new world. And I also feel like with this whole entire like childhood energy popping up here, like it's time to be just like free and just like untamed. As children, we were like untamed when we get on the playground and just like run wild. It's time to like embrace that type of energy again, because as you get older, it starts to become more tamed and it starts to be something that you aren't really aligned with. Like when we're older, we're not really playing as much or running around, just letting ourselves be humans, be animals, be free, like we did as kids. And I feel like that's something that's encouraged right now. It's going to align you with your truth and with your shadow energy. Okay. We have groundhog, swan, Koning, and we have Rosemary Bride. And like I feel like that's you and your younger self. Like honestly, communicating with your younger self is also highly encouraged. Like I would sit at my altar and sometimes just like light candles for my inner child. And like put my dolls around it. Because I still collect dolls to this day. No one's gonna stop me. But I would put like dolls around it. I would put like the music I was listening to around it. I would put the artworks, my like old diaries and stuff like that. I would just put it at my altar space, light some candles, and just share my thoughts. Just meditate on the energy of my inner child. That brought a lot of healing to me. It also brought a lot of divine revelations. Like a lot of the things I wrote as a kid, it's just crazy how much like it just resonates now, or there's just like spiritual messages in it. Like there's this one diary entry that I found as a child. I think I wrote it when I was like maybe in 3rd grade. And I guess it was like during Christmas time, and I was watching Nick Jr. And I guess I was like watching this like Dora winter special, which is funny. But I was watching like a Dora winter special, and I like wrote about it in my diary. And I was like, I'm currently watching it, but I don't really necessarily, like Dora. I like the evil ice witch better. It was kind of funny because it's like, as a kid, I was always just like really into like the darkness and into like the villainous characters. You know what I'm saying? I just always thought they were cooler. And I just felt like it was almost like aligned with my energy right now. There's just so many things that I wrote that I guess resonate right now, is what I'm trying to say. Does that make sense? So I feel like that is something that's really beneficial for you guys. Just like going to your altar, sitting down, meditating, having your candles lit for your inner child. I feel like your younger self, slash your inner child, is one of the biggest like compasses, I guess, in your life. And people overlook the inner child energy so much because we're expected to just be like, boring ass adults. But like, there's something really beautiful about the inner child. It's just as powerful in your spiritual journey as any other thing. And, you need to treat your inner child with respect, with love and compassion. And you guys are like, I feel like there's almost like this like hatching from like an egg, breaking out of the shell. And it's scary, especially with the groundhog card. The groundhog card. There's something just scary about, coming into your truth, like in front of everybody else. Like maybe now is the time to like switch up your style and like dress the way that you've always wanted to dress. Now is the time to like maybe get like a piercing or a tattoo that you've always wanted. Like you're really changing. There's like a metamorphosis that's happening right now, physically and spiritually. And it's just so, vulnerable for you. But you can't shy away from it because it's going to really empower you. It's going to bring you to a higher level in your life. And right now is just the best time to like do self-love rituals and just like pamper yourself. Love yourself, embrace the truth within, let it roam free. It's time to like receive the blessings of living in your truth. And sharing that truth with others. Sharing that truth with other people that may need it. Okay. We have unguarded. Enchantment. Use your words consciously. We have phenomenon. And found. Okay. Let me just move over the tripod a bit. So you guys can see the other card. Let me show up. All right, so there's also like I feel like part of your truth is definitely very dark. It's very macabre. It's maybe intimidating, yes, especially with the groundhog card. It's very intimidating, but it's worth it at the end of it all. It's okay to embrace the darkness. It's okay to embrace the shadow. And I feel like with the enchantment card, it's like kind of coming back to the whole sort of thing about diary entries. And this is just like for some, but like a lot of like your old entries that maybe you wrote as a kid or just things that you wrote down as a child could be very influential to the current point in your journey that you're at. But I also feel like maybe right now you've manifested your true self. Like, I don't know if you guys have scripted about it, but like, you've manifested it by imagining it, by living it. Now you're like in its energy, now you're in its essence. And there's so much like beauty, so much to experience when you're aligned with your truth. Like, life just feels 10 times more free, more better when you're in the energy of your truth. You finally found like the real you. And you need to trust the real you. You need to follow the messages coming from the real you. Like, now is the time to start dropping the facade. Now is the time to start dropping the masks that you have used to hide and conceal yourself out of safety. Now is the time to be like completely real with who you are. And you're gonna like live a whole different experience. You're gonna live in a whole different world when you're aligned with that energy. So that's what I feel like it's saying. Let's pull the demon of the day and let's wrap this up. This group 3's demon of the day. Okay, we have Hagenti. Luxury and wealth can appear like magic, but require an important change. What changes are you willing to make? So I feel like for some of you guys, Hagenti could be a spirit guide, a guardian demon, or the message and energy of Hagenti just resonates with you at this current point in time. So that is the message. If you guys enjoyed this, please feel free to subscribe, hit the like button, comment down below if it resonated. You can even hype the video. If you feel called to have a personal reading with me, link in the description. And if you feel called to gift me a gift, like a new deck or whatever the fuck, then you can. The link is in the description as well. I love you guys so much. Take care and goodbye.